No, lowercase, it's all lowercase.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Try capital W then. I'm sorry. I can't look because but that's what it should be.
Oh.
I heard the doggy.
Yeah.
It should be wellness 45.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening. It's the first time that the three of us have been together again. It has been like that for a really long time. Hi, Tom. So we have a guest tonight. He is a parapsychologist, a private investigator, and he's from Houston. And very interesting. He, I'm honored to have him on the show. We're just going to talk a little bit about what he does. And hi, Heather. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
And go from there. If anybody has any questions, let me know. But here we go. His name is Peter. Peter.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Let me know in Facebook world if you can't hear Peter. So. Ooh. All right. So. Can't tell where the speaker is here. Hi, Bill.
I think it's under here. The speaker's under here.
Oh.
No, you had it right. Yeah, you had it right. Right there. Like it's right there.
It's wonder we have viewers, Peter.
Can you hear us?
I understand. You gotta love technology.
Always.
No, always.
So, Peter, tell us a little bit about your career, your daily life, like where you're at. I mean, are you a believer in, I want to say, quote unquote, ghosts?
Well, me, I use the word belief. Using the word belief for me is, to me, it's more of a religious thing. I mean, I study ghosts. I look for, I look for hard research. But I guess it's kind of splitting hairs. Yeah, I believe in ghosts, but I mostly it's mostly the hard evidence from names, dates, places, and events. Things that you can research, the hard evidence. Just because I might think that something's going on in a place doesn't necessarily mean that it's happening that way, because there's so many different things that could be happening.
Right.
Structural stuff, psychological stuff, medicinal issues, mental issues. It just goes on and on. So, I think I probably got into the study probably along the lines of many other folks. We had personal experiences. Mine was when I was like 12 or 13. I just kind of, just through the years, I just had grabbed anything I could to read on haunted houses and ghosts. Going into high school, getting into parapsychology, Hans Holzer and Richard Weiner, D. Scott Rogo, folks like that.
Uh-huh.
Later on into the 80s, I got into Lloyd Auerbach, and to me, Lloyd Auerbach's book is kind of like the Bible to me, as far as study. I mean, it's pretty thorough.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Lloyd Auerbach's book, it's ESP, Hauntings and Poltergeists. I think he wrote that like in, I want to say mid-'80s. I could be a little off, but it's very thorough. It's a very thick book too. You can probably get it in used bookstores. He's since split it up into like 2 or 3 different books. I think being one ESP, one for ghosts, and one for poltergeists, and dreams, I think as well. But in college, did the same thing. I got lucky with my prof in college that I could write anything on parapsychology as long as it followed criteria of what he gave me. So I got real lucky with that too, and just been doing it for forever. I've been in the field now for about 35 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just turned 53 now, so I don't include my experiences when I was younger. My first experience when I actually went out to a house was the age of 18, so I go from there on. So maybe it's a little over 35 years I've my math sucks. So, you know, I'm a licensed private investigator here in Houston. I look for missing children, missing adults, missing vets.
That's awesome. Well, you said missing children, missing adults, and missing pets.
Missing veterans.
Oh, veterans, really?
Yeah. So sometimes when they have a hard PTSD episode, sometimes they go walkabout, and to try to get away from it, or try to grasp reality. Unfortunately, sometimes it ends up being a recovery instead of a found.
Oh.
But yeah, I really hate that stuff too. It hits me pretty hard. But yeah, so I mean, I guess that's kind of where my head goes. It's that, you know, as far as evidence goes, you know, it's, you know, you have to have hard evidence to go by. I mean, if you have to look at it, if you were going to put it in, put what you have found on a court date, does it stand up? I mean, it can't be, well, I think it's this, or it's possible, or, you know, it has to be as hard evidence as you can get.
Absolutely.
So that's how I kind of look at it. I don't know if that answers your question. That's kind of about what I do. Oh, well, also being a hypnotherapist, you know, I see folks for PTSD and stop smoking, and I also deal with the police every once in a while if they want me to work on a missing case, to go out and do some witness recall from a witness that has seen something that they want me to try to pull out any information that they couldn't remember. I try to relax them down to the point that they can pull out more detail. I've done that several times with police and family. So, and it's, you know, and I have been able to help them out with that. So it's been real rewarding so far.
That sounds really rewarding. Not only just, you know, you're helping police, you're helping veterans. You know, unfortunately, you said sometimes it's a bad outcome as opposed to. However, you have to look at their families and stuff like that. You know, I'm sure it brings them some peace, even though it might be heartache.
Yeah. Well, you know, closure is
very
important, whether it's positive or negative. The negative always sucks, of course.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, for those of our viewers, you know, and this and that, like, what exactly is parapsychology? If you were to explain that to somebody.
Definition.
Okay, parapsychology is the study of our psychic ability on our environment. You know, what we do to create psychic events. It's the study of our psychic abilities as well. You know, as far as like mediumship, psychics, telekinesis, psychometry, being able to touch something and pull up information. You know, anything that has to deal with all five senses, and that's extrasensory perception. And the big one is like I said, you know, how our extrasensory perception, how it involves our environment. And you know, and there's a lot of different things that, of course, with our environment, you know, different things, you know, that can be done through science, you know, through hard science. You know, I like to look at that stuff first before I look at anything that's psychic, you know, that's psychic, or being able to prove anything that's paranormal like that. You know, a good friend of mine, I think he's a good friend of yours too, Kenny Biddle.
Yes.
You know, he's you know, I like how he looks at things. You know, we've been friends for a little while, and you know, I liked some of the things that he did on exposing some of the tools that are out there on the TV shows. One being like the kinetic camera, and how he showed how that was, you know, just how it was all just done by the camera itself. I was never really a big person that thought that was pulling up ghosts, or, you know, circle skeleton or whatever. But I could see how people can get that confused with thinking that it might be paranormal activity. But you have to see though that a lot of the folks that are in the field now, they don't have a whole lot of background as far as who the forefathers were of paranormal research. They have TV, so they look a lot. And I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that haven't done the work. I'm not saying that at all. But for the most part, though, it's always like, well, I saw so and so go into this house, and it was a demon, and it was this and that, and then they give you a call and they say, well, I've got the same thing happening in my house, and this person said it was a demon. What do you think? And then when you start trying to get into, well, it could be this, could be that, I really don't know until I get out there, and then they get argumentative. I don't really get into that too much myself either.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the shows are the biggest issue today for anybody that is in the paranormal field, because they tend to give people, it's like they think it's gospel. They see these people on TV, they think like whatever they're doing is the way to do it, and if there's a scratch, that means it's a demon. If there's and you get these private house calls, and automatically they're already scared because I saw on TV this and I saw on TV that, and it's one of the reasons why we decided to do this, because it's just so out of control, and we want to spread the education and want to spread that it's really not always negative. Are there negative cases? Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
And going along with what you do, could it be your own psyche, creating things with it? I mean, energy is energy, right? So if you're putting negative energy out of there, you're going to get negative energy back.
The old law is like attracts like.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're sitting in your house and you're thinking you hear a bump and you think it's you're picturing like some big red guy with horns stomping his foot down on the floor or the ceiling. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna think everything is, and it'll escalate. So the shows have made what we do, what we like to do or try to do, a little harder.
Well, and also too, I saw y'all's show that you did about those shysters that were trying to charge
a
certain amount of money. I was watching y'all. I was over here dying. But yeah, I mean, it's the everyday folks out there that really don't know the history of the studies, that when they freak out when they see the stuff on the TV, then they get taken taken advantage of by people like that, because they step in, they say that they can do this and they can do that, and they have this background, and it's real hard to have to research any of these people that claim that do what they do, and to have a background. I mean, it's real important that you do have people that are on your team or that have other backgrounds that support the research that you're doing.
Right.
And I'm not trying to build myself up or anything, but being a hypnotherapist, I deal with people in stress. I know I can I can recognize different behaviors and things like that, and that helps when you're dealing with people in a room, but in a house. But when you have a person that's had nothing but just their own experience, and go into a home, you're actually doing more harm than good, because you really don't have the background to deal with that person, that if they're in stress, or be able to really look at all the detail that you have to deal with. And I'm not knocking everybody. I'm just saying there are some people out there though that just don't do that.
Right.
So it's it's real important that you have professionals on the team that police officers and paramedics, private investigators, I guess. if you have people that are also chemists, I mean, I have my VP is a chemistry chemistry. He's a chemist for his own company, but he's also has a long history of being a chemist, and he knows how things work like that. He's very meticulous on how procedures and manuals and things like that, and that's very detail oriented, and that's something you need to have with you as well. I don't know if this makes sense. I can't sound like I'm rambling, but
No, it absolutely
it's my
makes
age,
sense.
I guess.
It makes sense. Totally makes sense.
I mean, like, my head, it's like I feel like I have like 1,000 questions, and I'm like trying to and I'm following what you're saying, and I know I'm probably, going to forget half of the questions I have because, for me, I've always been interested in psychology, and I've always been interested in the paranormal. You know what I mean? And for me, I was like, oh, parapsychology, I'm like, what is that? Like the study of ghosts, and psychology, and you know what I mean? And
Well, it's actually very, very deep when you get into it because there's a lot of stuff out there. And parapsychology doesn't really get the play that it should get because there's like 125 years of studies and of legitimate people. I mean, scientists and biologists. I mean, you name it. They've done different things and different testings and studies. My thing is that I really wish that there was some type of gray area that the scientific community can get with the parapsychological community, and see if we can try to find that gray area. But they both argue. So what are you going to do?
So, like, what is it? The belief in the Is it the belief in the? I don't want to just say paranormal, right? I guess it's like a global thing. Okay, so is it the belief in the paranormal, or is it the disbelief in the paranormal that draws people to want to be parapsychologists to try to? Is it to try to figure it out and debunk it, or is it because?
I think it might be a little bit of both, and that's not trying to skirt the question. I think it's the why. I think a lot of, and that's what drew me to it. It's the why. Why does it happen? Whether it's an answer that I want to hear or I don't want to hear. It's more of why does it happen, and that's the hard part about it. When you're dealing with hard science, it has to be replicated time and time again. But when you're dealing with a person that there's so many things out there that can force an event to not happen or to happen. It's just so it can be so wishy-washy. I think that's one of the big problems that science has, is that you can't just drag somebody in here and say, okay, make that move. Well, it has to be in the right circumstances and the right this and the right that. Well, and then science looks at it and goes, well, I'm asking you to do it. You can't do it, therefore it doesn't exist. And I can understand that to a point. I truly can. Right. But how do you explain though when it does happen? Right. Mm-hmm. And besides, you debunk it. You look at whatever you want to take everything out of it. When you come down to that 1%, and you look at it and say, okay, it's none of this 99%. Why did it do it? And you don't have an answer. That's what I look at. Right. That's what I want to know.
You look at the 1%.
I look at the 1%.
Yeah. Do you? All right. Wait a second. Let's pause. Sure. Is your volume up somewhere?
Me?
Yeah.
No, ma'am. I can try to turn it down.
Not on your phone because we want to be able to hear you, but.
Is he watching
is that a little bit better?
Hello?
Is that a little bit better now?
So no, people are hearing. You know how we were hearing like the echo?
Your volume down? No.
Like, do you have like the computer? Do you have the computer on or something? And
me? No, I don't have anything on. I'm just sitting here in my chair with my phone.
Your phone, is it? I don't know. I'm just reaching for. Right? Maybe. Is it her?
I turn my volume down over here.
I think it's on our end.
Hell.
Wait, do it. I don't hear it now. Oh,
Yeah, I do.
Is it your phone?
Yeah, but if I turn my volume down, will they hear us?
I can hear you fine.
All right, hold on. Let me see. No, I'm saying let me turn this down. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
It didn't do anything.
There you go.
Turn it back up. It didn't do nothing.
Someone is echoing.
Can you guys hear me?
I think it's my phone then.
It must be.
But I don't know what to do with it or how to fix it.
That's
Do you
better.
guys-
Al James says that's better.
Do you guys
If
Yeah.
I turn my volume down?
It came back.
All good now. Just it came back.
Yes, no
Is
echo.
it really bothering?
I don't know.
Wait.
All right, well, the volume's down, so I don't know if they can hear us.
I don't know how to. If you guys, does anybody know how to fix the echo on my? I think it's my phone, but I don't know how to fix it. Do you?
All right, everybody's saying yes, no echo. But they can still you can still hear me?
What? Oh, I can hear that.
But I can hear it, but they can't hear it. They can hear me. Okay, good. All right.
Someone turned down the volume so they can hear us.
Oh.
Yes, I can hear. Oh my God.
All right, good. They can hear. Now, can you hear Peter? Go ahead.
I can hear y'all fine. Can you hear me okay?
All right, good.
That's
Can hear
better.
you. Everybody can hear us.
All right, so everybody can hear.
I think we got to deal with the little echo. Be all right. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
So you said that do you have a team?
Yes, I do. Lone Star Spirits. We've been around since about 1996, 1997. But I was doing investigations before I joined the team, and I was the lead investigator. And then over the years, people leave, so I inherited it. So now I'm supposedly the guy. So
Cool.
so yeah.
So-
We've been in about like 12 different books since the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would see. Been on a couple of shows on Travel Channel. I think Ghost Stories
Awesome.
was one. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. My whole thing. I've done TV. I don't do this for TV.
Right.
I've walked off a set before when they've asked me to, make up stuff or to embellish things. And I don't say that to make myself sound like, hey, I'm a bad dude. But but you have to have. I think you have to have ethics and morals.
Absolutely.
When you do a lot of this stuff. And I learned a lot of that too when I got my certification for hypnotherapy. I learned ethics as I was learning everything else, and I really pushed that forward too.
Yeah, I mean, I 1000% agree with you. Like, you have to have morals. You have to have a moral compass when you're doing this, when you're working with people. I mean, a lot of what's coming to us is coming to us with emotion and feeling, and you have to be careful with that. You have to be gentle with that.
Yes, you do.
And
And you have to look at it too. Is that when you go into a residential, or a commercial property, they have money behind that. That's their investment. And it's important that you know how to treat that, and you know how to respect that too. And I hear way too many stories about people going in and trashing places because
that's crazy.
they don't know how to deal with things. And,
well, it's those people that are only in it for either the EVPs, the pictures, the crazy stuff. Like, they don't care to go in there and help. They're there just for their own personal gain.
yeah, or adrenaline. They want the scare.
Definitely adrenaline.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with the police? I mean,
Getting involved with the police, it really started when I got my certification in hypnotherapy, because I started that because I wanted to work with the police. Originally that's what I was wanting to do, is to be able to help on cases. And so I went through the schooling for that, and then I just had opportunities that having known people that would just contact me to go out work on cases with that. And then, I work with a couple of 501(c)(3)s that work with missing people, and they know my background. So, they've contacted me to work with missing families for, to see if I can get any more evidence or from the witnesses. And it's just kind of blossomed from there as far as dealing with the police or the missing people. And that's even how I got to be a private investigator, was working through the 501(c)(3) companies. And then I had worked with a couple of people that had their own company, and they liked what I did, and they like how I handled people and my background. And I got my license through them. And I've been doing it now. I've been doing that now for about 6 years now.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. So how far into how far into a case or a missing person or a missing veteran, like what point is it that it gets to you? Like, has it been a year? Has it been a couple weeks? Has it been a couple hours? Has it been, or does it depend on the case?
Well, when I get a case from on a missing person,
yeah,
it can be anywhere from hours to maybe a week behind, and to solve the case, it can be anywhere from a couple of days if they're a runaway, to I'm working a case right now that's over a year old because we just can't find them.
Wow.
I firmly believe in my heart that the guy is still alive, but he's ex-military, and he just knows how to hide.
Oh wow.
It's just, you just gotta keep up with it. You just gotta kind of go at it. It's like a paranormal case. Folks sometimes think that 4 hours on an investigation it is enough to gather data to find out what's going on in a home. Me personally, I don't believe that.
I don't either.
Because the people there live there 24/7. So you're not unless you're there 24/7, you're not gonna get everything that they experience, whether it's paranormal, whether it's an emotional thing, or whatever, or even the family dynamic. I have moved into a house for a couple of weeks before, and to try to get a handle on what was happening in a house. But that's very, that's very rare to do that. If the family is open to it, I make the suggestion, depending on how hard the case is, or who's being affected. If it's a child, that's my main priority, is to help the child out first.
Absolutely.
So of course, I'm going to do whatever I can. So cases can go on as long as they can go on. I worked one paranormal case for over 2 years.
Wow.
Jeez.
And the only resolve for that was that the folks ended up moving from the house because they just didn't want to.
Yeah. Well, sometimes some of the cases can
And they're fine.
last for a really, really long time, because you're constantly counseling them, you're constantly, keeping tabs and making sure they're okay and seeing what they're supposed to be doing. And every periodically they run into a little wall, but you're always there for them.
Yeah,
See, that's what makes it so hard when you're working on a PI case. Is that for me, when I get the case, I look at I contact all of the people that this person knows. I try to get as much information on the person. I try to get to know him. I try to get to feel how he thinks, so I know where I'm looking, how I'm going to look, what my plans are. So when things turn badly, God forbid, you're really tight with the families. I mean, they've told you a lot of private stuff, and
right.
and you're working with them daily, and so I had mentioned to you that that really gets to me when it ends up being a deceased case. But it's the same thing with paranormal stuff, though. You work with the longer you work with them, you do become part of the family to a point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
And especially
So,
when
yeah.
you know you're a positive in the world of their negative. You know what I mean? Sometimes they can just hold on to that, and you have to build that trust. And and I mean, we have we have a case now where there was three little girls involved, and we made that a priority. We went out there. Now we didn't do an investigation. We went out there and we talked to the family. We gave tools and stuff like that for the girls to feel. And I check up with the mom every 2 weeks, and she said the girls are doing so much better, and we're happy about that. But at no point do I tell them, look, this is it. We're for life now. You know what I mean? If you ever need us, you call us.
Right.
And that's our dedication to our work.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you kind of got to pull back and try to make yourself not as available to get them to go back, to get them to get back to their way of life.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
And that's hard, and that's hard on a lot of folks too, because given whatever their life situation is, we all have different things we go through. Some folks just like having the company. They might be going through a lot of stuff, but having the company there, having an ear, they depend on that, and and it's real hard to separate that sometimes.
Sure.
Can I ask you a question, Peter?
You can ask me anything.
Okay, I am.
If I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know.
I am recently certified hypnotist. Also, it helps
Awesome.
because I'm also a psychic medium,
Cool.
and I do. I have assisted in a missing person case. So I'm curious on. But you tap into the energy of the person who is missing. When you hypnotize, if the person isn't there that's missing, do you hypnotize the family to see if they remember anything?
Yeah, you can if they have seen anything, or if they want to be hypnotized, to see if they recognized anything that out of the ordinary that might help the police. You can always suggest that, and if it's not there, it's just not there, as you know.
All right.
I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot here, but
Okay.
Steve Barry's on. I think he's still watching. So every summer they do this. It's called a Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, and it's to support wounded warriors, veterans, and and children.
Okay.
My goodness, would it be cool for him, you to come out to there and
Absolutely.
because I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know missing vets were a thing.
Oh yeah, well you see them a lot, just panhandling just to get by.
Post-traumatic stress. They
yeah.
all along have the PTSD.
You would be surprised that are in shelters that are on the side of the street.
Absolutely.
Now the
Center City is loaded with them.
Yeah, exactly. In forests, I mean, a lot of them will camp out in areas that people, free tenting areas and things like that. They'll camp out there. I worked with one person one time that he was homeless. He was a homeless vet, and he had a tent on the side of the road in the bushes. It was like a forest, but it was I don't want to say forest, but there was a whole lot of trees and stuff that it was covered real well. And he took me back there one time to see how he was living. And he had like 3 tents set up. He had battery packs, so he could actually watch TV if he wanted to. He just had to charge his batteries.
Wow.
And he had like 2-3 coolers out there for food and drink. So he was pretty much set up. But you would be really surprised. Now, the 501(c)(3) that I work for, that I work with, is Guardian Search and Investigations, GSI, and you can find them on Facebook. And they deal with vets. So, I mean, at any point in time, and they have people all through the country. So if you come across anybody that has a missing vet, throw them there. If they're in Houston, Texas, or around in Texas, they'll usually throw it to me. If it's anywhere else, they have other people, and it's a free service. We do this pro bono.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
I know that there's homeless veterans in our country, which to me is just horrible, right? I know that.
It is horrible. It's
But I
absolutely
didn't realize that some of them, due to PTSD or whatever reason, make themselves try to disappear. You know what I mean? And
Well, depression too. I mean,
Yeah.
With PTSD it becomes depression, it becomes
Yeah.
anxiety, and and if you're in a deep depressive state, as you all know, that you have a very low self-esteem, and you just think that nobody wants to be around you, so you fade out, and it breaks my heart when that happens. And you just want to try to do what you can.
and are these people that have
But that's with anybody. That's not just strictly vets. That's just with anybody.
right,
Right.
right.
And they can't get health insurance.
Does that
A lot
help
of
out?
them.
Does
Oh,
that,
no.
that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, it's just me. Like, okay, so there's like a husband and a wife and kids, and he's just like, F it, and he just runs off. So, like, basically, is that what happens? And then then we're looking for this.
It can be.
A lot of
Okay.
times
I'm sure there's a bunch of
they
different
can't get a job.
situations.
Yeah, they've served
Yeah,
our
it
country
can
and they
be.
can't get a job or insurance, and that's awful.
Yeah. Now, there's there's women's shelters, that women can go to if, and this really bothers me too. If and forgive me for trying to put this out there, but it's probably a good thing. If you're living with somebody that is beating you, get the hell out of there. Wherever you got to go,
Yeah.
go to your church, go to a women's shelter. Go. And life is too short. And those people are out there. Those people are also out there too, and homeless. Being homeless.
Yeah, that's terrible.
There are families. There are homeless families.
It's awful.
Mothers, fathers, kids.
The kids,
And I'm sorry I got off on a tangent. I know we're talking about.
No, that's
paranormal.
okay.
No. This
That's
is
how
we
this
talk
goes.
about it. Yeah.
We talk about everything.
yeah, it's like an open table. Anything goes. It doesn't have to necessarily be paranormal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
No, I did. I asked my question.
So what do you? Okay, so are you familiar with? This is probably a dumb question for you, but I'm just gonna ask it anyway.
No dumb question.
Skinwalker Ranch.
I'm familiar with it. I've heard things on both sides. I mean, I've heard that there has been some legitimate phenomena that folks can't figure out what it is. I've heard that there's some shady dealings. So I really don't know. I've just read stuff. I've never been there. So I don't know. Does that make any?
It does. It does.
I'm
But
not trying to get anybody mad.
no. I won't
That's
watch.
what
I
I
won't
heard.
watch the documentaries because I'm very sensitive to animals. So
yeah, she
I
can't
can't.
watch it.
I can't
I
watch
still
it.
have to watch
Because
this
they
thing.
show them gut it. And
Yeah, I can't do it.
Like I've never seen.
Like I get upset if I drive by and there's a dead skunk on the street. Like I can't. I'm very overly sensitive of animals. So, but I mean, there's been so much research. There's been scientists like so what you were saying in the very beginning of like the parapsychology and stuff. Like there's just been so much research, so much scientists and parapsychologists and people from like all over trying to survey the land and do data and tests and this and that, and nobody has any answers to what's happening, or is it happening? I mean, I don't even know.
It's a lot of the paranormal though too.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like it sounds like there's like just a big, huge black cloud. Cyclone. I'm like, like now,
Spit it out.
like
You all right? Did you get any on you?
I think she did.
it's just to me, it's just amazing stuff like that. Like here's another one.
Yeah.
The Entity, the movie The Entity.
Okay. Yeah, I know Dr. Taff.
Okay.
And I've talked to him on that on more than one occasion. I really do believe that what happened there was some poltergeist activity or recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, and what that is our subconscious mind taking traumatic events and playing them into the environment. Mm-hmm. How it happens, I mean, I don't know. I've got no clue. I can tell you though that I've worked many cases with poltergeists, and being a hypnotherapist, I have found triggers on people that I'll delve in and I'll kind of see what was going on at the time, looking at the trends and things, and find out what triggered the behavior that caused the phenomena. I've removed it, and I've had hauntings stop. So I could tell you that I know what A is, and I know what C is, but I don't know what B is, and I don't think anybody does yet.
Will we ever?
Make any sense?
Yeah. I mean, that to date, that is the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Seen it yet.
Scariest movie I've ever seen.
It is real scary.
It is.
And having worked with folks, on my own cases, I've had everything from moving objects. I've had one lady that had issues with the way that she was dealing with male relationships, that she would replay the rape that she had, and she would relive that in a physical sense. And so she was thinking and feeling the rape, but there was nothing physically there. It was just her body reacting to the trigger. So, and it's a lot like the entity case. But I can tell you though, on that case, I was hit, and I also saw a cold mass on my FLIR.
Wow.
So I could tell you, I mean, that was pretty intense.
Well, I was going to say, because, like, at first, she was going to some type of a therapist, right? Because she thought it was in her head, like, the things that were happening. She thought she was going crazy. And then I think, things started happening in front of other people, like her sons, and then something happened in front of her boyfriend.
Yeah, that was her. That was, I don't know what type of counselor or therapist that she was going to. Maybe they didn't quite tap onto it. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
See, that's where they needed you, right?
Megan asked if she passed or not.
But,
I don't know. Did
yes,
she pass? She passed, Megan, yes.
See, that's where you would have come in, because you could have, like, sat down with her and been like, okay, all right, something happened in your past that's making this, I'll tell you what, though. I cannot watch that movie.
Barry, I'm sure Barry had those conversations with her, and I know that he had. But I don't know to what extent, because when you do talk to somebody, it is a client. It is, it's a client privilege. So, you really don't get into a whole lot of detail on stuff like that. But, knowing Barry though, I know he's pretty thorough.
Yeah. I think it's really cool.
I also know too that after all that happened, she moved. She moved actually out here to Texas somewhere.
Yes.
But they lost contact of where she was or what she was doing. And I don't know how they got word that she passed. I think maybe family got a hold of Barry. I never really asked him, to be honest with you. All he told me is that he knew that she had passed and she moved out here, and he really didn't get into it with me, and I didn't press him for it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said that she tried moving to get away from whatever, but it was still happening.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you're dealing with stuff like that, no matter where you are, there you are. So.
Yeah. And then I think they said that it got less and less and less and less, but it happened up until she passed, But the first time
I know this too, though, is that the more you know about what's going on, and the more that you deal with your issues, it does get less and less, because you start to understand what things are, what things do, how things work. You start working through your issues, so then your stressors become less and less. So it ends up cycling out 9 times out of 10. Maybe she wasn't ready to let go. I mean, I don't know. I'm not her.
Right.
I'm just speculating.
I do think though that, the mind is such a powerful thing, and
It is.
if you're sitting in a room and you see something, it's so hard for you to accept that maybe that's coming from you. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's not something. Honestly, it's really not something that you really think about. Unless you really know the study, and know, what the possibilities are. Honestly, you really don't think about it because that's not something you would normally think about.
Right.
I mean, you hear about poltergeist. Yeah, you hear noisy ghost. Well, technically yes, but it's not. But that's not exactly what it is.
Right.
It's something making it noisy, but it is a noisy ghost. But then of course, movies, TV, you get what you think it is versus what the reality of it is.
Right.
So and that's what's always frustrating. Especially when you try to tell people what it is, and they're just so hell bent on telling you, well, no, it's this. It's like, well,
yeah,
man, you called me to help you, and I'm trying to help you out, man. But if you don't want my help, I'll be, you can give me a call when you're ready. I mean, what else am I going to do?
Right. So like, what would be some of the things that I would like? What would I do? Like, what were some of the things that I would need to contact you? And is it like I Google, or is it like something that like
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth? Is it like?
Well, I've been around a long time out here, so usually people know how to get a hold of me, or so I get a lot of referrals. I get when I do a radio show or something, then people usually see me, and like I said, it's referrals or stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can go to www.lsspi.org. That's my team. You can go to redoakhypnosis.com. That's my office, and you can. My number's also all over the net. I even have it posted on my Facebook. So I mean, if anybody ever needs to get a hold of me,
right.
I mean, I've had people call me that had depression issues, and I've stayed up with them till 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So I mean,
That's
just
great.
And of course, I don't know if you've noticed, if anybody's gone to if any one of y'all gone on my Facebook, I don't post any of this stuff. So I might talk about it with y'all right now, but I don't let anybody really know what I'm doing because it's a private thing to me.
Yeah, it is, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. You have to privacy and confidentiality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not even that, but I mean, it's just more. I just don't like to. I guess I just don't like to broadcast what I do because. Yeah, I just don't really think it's anybody's business. I guess I've just gone through like a whole gambit of, TV and all the flame wars of who's this and who's that, and what is this, what is that. I just do what I do.
Flame wars.
Yeah, that's an old
I like that one.
So, do you have a mentor, somebody that you looked up to that said you were like, you know what, that's something I want to do?
I started first contacting him.
Who was it? Your phone broke up. The phone broke up.
I'm sorry, Lloyd Auerbach.
Okay.
I contacted him way back in the early 90s on questions and things like that. And then we just started talking back and forth, and we're actually pretty good friends now. He still takes my phone calls anyway, so I guess I'm okay. But, yeah, I mean, matter of fact, I flew out to California. He invited me out there along with probably about 10 or 15 other people to form something that was called the Paranormal Research Organization, which was and it still is. It's not posted anywhere anymore because I don't know what happened to the website, but it's a network of people across the United States that he gives cases to.
Oh, cool.
I'm also part of his Office of Paranormal Investigations. I'm from his group, so he refers to me a lot too. But yeah, I mean, and it was very very odd the first time I physically met him. My wife and I, mind you, we were talking back and forth on phone all the time. But my wife and I had our honeymoon in San Francisco, and he lives out there. He actually lives in Alameda, but I was at the Moss Beach Distillery and had given my business card to the head waiter because the place is haunted and it's got a lot of story and stuff to it. And I actually was going to try to see if I could get a tour or something, but of course I couldn't. But when they sat us, my wife and I were trying to order, and then I just see Lloyd walk over and hey, I'm Lloyd Auerbach. I saw your business card. We've been talking back and forth, so forth and so on. And I wanted to meet you. They gave me your business card, and and
That's cool.
I'm just sitting there with my jaw dropped.
I bet.
Yeah, wow.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, he and I discuss cases all the time. He calls to harass me. I harass him. It's all good.
You also mentioned in there Hans Holzer.
Hans Holzer, correct. Hans has been writing books on ghosts since mid '60s and almost till he passed. A few years ago, and Alexandra's taken up where he's left off, which is really cool. And I'm pretty good friends with Alexandra too. And I'm really happy though that she got the show that she did because I did see a couple of those shows, and I like the idea of they're opening up his cases to see what's going on now. I like more of the history than the performances, but
Sure.
But but it's really cool though for that whole concept to see how our cases now, especially the older cases,
Yeah.
to see if phenomena still happens, to what degree. I just find it fascinating. I guess I'm kind of a nerd.
No, I mean, I think it's. I mean, we look back and it's like, I mean, you look back at how they used to investigate and how the scientific methods they would try to use to get through an investigation. No matter what. I mean, it's with anything, even medicine. Like when you look back in history. Oh, sorry, Beth.
Did you hit her?
I just smacked Beth right in the face.
Well, see, and I guess I'm strange, but I like the old ways of investigating. It's not because I'm, my age or anything like that, but it was so much harder to fake something with 35 millimeter camera or a shoebox recorder. And stuff like that, versus everything's digital. Well, I mean, you get a better picture with digital, and it's it's fast gratification. You got the shot, you can see it right then. I get it, I truly do. But with all the apps and everything that are out there now, I mean, honestly, how many times have you seen the picture and you've seen the same ghost in 14 different pictures in 3 states?
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't happen that way. So I don't know. So if I do anything, it's usually the older technology, and I sometimes I'll put stuff side by side, to see if I get something on the 35 millimeter versus the digital. Of course, it's a pain in the neck to do it that way, but to me, I think it's kind of cool. Like with EVPs, record it with a digital recorder, record it with a shoebox. See which one. See if you can get it on both mediums. I have yet to get it on both mediums. I don't know if y'all have, but I haven't heard the same thing, or even sometimes I don't even get medium. I don't even get EVPs because I guess I'm really skeptical. One, and two, I don't filter as hard as a lot of folks do. To me, I mean, a Class A EVP for me is pretty much conversation,
right?
And if you filter it down to the point that it sounds like the Tin Man with a jackhammer, to me, I mean, it might be an anomalous thing, but you're forcing too much for you to hear something. I mean, not everything's going to say Bob goes to the store when you want it to.
Right.
You can have something. You can have something that's anomalous, saying, "Well, I got something that was within this range. I can't quite make it out, or I can't quite make it out, but it shouldn't have been there." There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Nothing. It doesn't have to always say something.
I'm going to tell you this right now. All my EVPs that I have on record have never been altered. First of all, I don't even know how to do it.
Yeah, I would never.
So whatever I have is what it is what I have.
It's
You
how
know?
you got it.
It's
It's how
either
you got it.
right. It's either there or it's not. You shouldn't have to clean it up, take the noise out. It's there or it's not there. That's what I feel.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel too. I mean, EVP is not my forte. You know, we've already discussed what I do, but that, I don't know. I guess I'm just a hard ass.
No, I agree. Well, and I'm like you, Taryn. For one thing, I don't know how to clean anything up. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
clean
even know how to
anything up.
download one.
If it's there and it sounds like
Right,
something
it's
and
there.
that actually makes sense,
Right.
then
Because
Yeah.
if you clean it up, I feel like you're tweaking and trying to play with it too much. That's
Yeah.
what I feel. It's
And
there
you're
or
trying
it's
to
not.
make something out
Yeah.
of nothing.
Yes.
I've got somebody that you should look up on Google, and I think if you haven't already, or if you don't know about her, her name is Sarah Estep.
Sarah Easton.
She started the American Association for Electronic Voice Phenomena way back in the 70s, I believe, 70s or 80s. She has some recordings that she has gotten in Point Lookout, Maryland, that on a shoebox recorder that sounds conversational.
wow, yeah, I believe
That's
it.
pretty cool.
And to be honest, and you want to hear something other strange? Is it strange? She was my first grade English teacher when I lived
She
in
was your
Maryland.
first.
I did not know that until early '90s when I was starting to do research on EVP, and her name kept coming up, and I started seeing pictures of her, and I pulled my old first grade photo out, and I'll be damned if it wasn't her. And then I got in contact with her, and we started talking back and forth. And she was so happy because I was the only student that ever contacted her back after all those years. She never heard from anybody else besides me. And then I used to tell her that I wished that I would have known that you was doing these studies in the 70s, because I had questions when I was a kid that I could have come to you. But now I know it in the 90s. And she just started laughing at me. She said, "You probably wouldn't have understood what was going on if I told you at that age anyway." So I said, okay. Okay, all right, the consummate teacher.
Yeah, right? That's pretty cool.
But, yeah,
That is pretty cool.
yeah, it was
Wild
awesome.
world.
And and I'm real good friends with her daughter now, and so I mean, I just find that really fascinating that she was even in there, and it blows my mind to this day. I would sit in there and do writing assignments, and she was doing this, and I just didn't know.
Wow. That's so
So
cool.
you never really know who's who.
Yeah. That is so
But
true.
seriously, look her up, because she also wrote a book that I think that you can download for free, called Voices of Eternity, and it's a very, very interesting book on EVP.
Which
Very
I
rare.
probably would love, because I am a big, huge EVPer. Like, when I do an investigation, and it goes against everything that, and I love Kenny. I call him the Biddler. He's my boy. I love him to death.
The Biddler.
The Biddler. I love him to death. So I go against everything that he says. I'm like the worst ghost hunter in his eyes. I just go in there with my recorders.
The thing with Kenny is that you can argue with him and you can still remain friends. It's
Exactly.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely.
And if you argue with him and not because stay friends,
Right.
then there's an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
He does it respectfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just go in there with I'll have 4 recorders.
5.
Maybe 5, and I, and a camera maybe, but I'm not really big into all the equipment stuff. I want to have the personal experiences. I want to have the audio. I get EVPs. I love EVPs.
Yeah.
Love them.
Favorite.
I won't use the spirit box because I think it's going to interfere with an EVP I might get. You know what I mean? Like that is.
I'm not a big fan of the spirit box. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, to me, it's bits and pieces of radio shows and everything else. I mean, I don't know. You put a bunch of monkeys in a room, they'll type Shakespeare.
Right. So for me, I mean, I would love to look her up. Maybe even have her on if we can. My God, that would be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's one of our. Me anyway.
Yeah, me too. My favorite, One of the reasons.
I'll listen to so we'll do an investigation for 4 hours. Beth has her one little 4-hour recorder. No offense, but I'm just saying. And then here I go. I got 5. So now I have 20 hours of audio to listen to.
I just can't sit
as
that
opposed
long.
to 4.
I love it too, but I can't sit that long. Peter.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago. You never record as long as you want.
Yeah.
So if you're recording for 24 hours,
I-
you better be damn sure you're going to sit there.
I
for 3
can't.
hours.
I can't.
I
I'm surprised
know.
you can.
I know. I still,
ADD.
like, I keep telling myself, like, every time we're going to go somewhere, I'm like, all right, I'm only going to put 1 or 2 out, and I'm only going to record, like, I'm going to stop when we're walking in between floors. I'm going to, it never happens. I'm like, no, I can't. What if I miss something? You know? Like,
Exactly.
so,
Right.
you know. So,
I was going to
do you, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask the question that Anthony
Go
made.
ahead.
So I had a question. He's not here, our sidekick, Anthony. But he wanted to know, what do you think about the Mind Matter Unification Project by the professor of physics out of Cambria University, Dr. Josephson? It deals with parapsychology. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970 in physics. Do you know anything about that and what your thoughts? No?
He's taking it in.
He's taking it in.
Is he
Did I
there?
lose him?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh,
He's probably writing down.
I'm not really familiar with it,
Okay.
but I would tell you it sounds like it's a very interesting.
Okay.
I would like to look into it. See
Yeah,
what's going
definitely.
on.
If you, you know, he has to have some kind of complicated question.
That's Anthony, right?
It's not like, oh, Anthony that's not here has a question. What's your favorite color?
Has to be something technical and long.
Something to do with the Nobel Peace Prize. Anyway.
Does anybody have any questions for Peter on Facebook land?
Yeah. So will you travel outside of the Houston, Texas area? Have you ever like gone
To New Jersey?
yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, the only time that I would ever accept anything, I mean, if they want to bring me up to New Jersey, I would need a plane ticket.
Right.
I hear you, yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't charge for services or anything like that.
Right.
And I would ask if I could stay there. But I mean, yeah, I would need a little help that way. But I mean, I've driven pretty much all over Texas. I've gone to Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I've gone to Missouri to work a case. Louisiana. So, yeah, I mean, and I've done that, on my own dime. So, traveling outside of Texas, yeah, I would have to have some help with that. But, that would be the only thing I would ever ask for.
Without breaking any confidentiality or anything like that, what would you say was your most memorable case that you worked on? Whether it be paranormal, whether it be missing person, whether it be, whatever, like your most memorable case that you worked on.
Well, they're all interesting in their own way. The ones I really get into, though, are the poltergeist cases, to be honest with you, because they're the ones that I have to put a whole lot into it, with hypnosis and research, and the hypnosis takes a lot of time to try to find the triggers.
Yeah.
And then looking at trends on behaviors, and to find out who is doing what, who was where, what was discussed. I mean, it's very detailed, and I really love doing that. I mean, because it really helps me, with my drive of why.
Right.
I've been that way ever since I've been a kid. I drove my parents crazy. Always why. So, yeah. I would say that those cases are the ones that are my favorite cases to get. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't worked regular cases as far as place memory or intelligent hauntings. I was called out one time in Orange, Texas, that I was dealing with. They were saying that they were dealing with ghosts, and then when I was interviewing going on, I also found out that that there was a possible Bigfoot sighting there too, which blew my mind. Because I thought that, I thought that they were, I thought they were talking noise, to be honest with you. Because you're working a haunting case, and you got a Bigfoot case on top of it. I mean, how often does that happen? I haven't ever had that happen since. But what they were telling me sounded a lot like what Ken Gerhardt had always told me about. So I called Ken, and he came out, and we did see the a lean-to that was on the property. We did see a footprint, and later on that evening,
yeah, it's glary up here.
Yeah, and later on that evening, he was doing some tree knockings, and in the distance, we heard tree knockings back. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know if maybe somebody heard it and they were playing it back, because I don't know. But for anything I've ever heard or researched or seen, that's what happens. But I can tell you this: I heard a growl to this day I've never heard that made my blood just go cold. It sounded kind of like a deep Chewbacca, if that makes any sense. Now, I heard that, and then I smelled the most god-awful smell around the house. And when Ken smelled it, I don't know if y'all ever met Ken or ever talked
Ken
to
Altman?
Ken Gerhardt?
Oh, Ken Gerhardt. Yes, I have.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's what, about 5'3", 5'4", maybe 5'5". I don't know. I'm 6'1", so he's shorter than me, and he's real skinny, and he just took off to the woods. He's just running. I'm like, Ken, what are you doing? What are you gonna do if you see him? He goes, I don't know. I'll know when I get there. And he's gone. And I'm like, oh my God, are you crazy, dude?
That.
But the ghost stuff never panned out. But that stuff on that end of it, that was fascinating to me.
Yeah,
that's unusual.
That's the closest I ever come to anything that was like that.
Yeah,
and I haven't. But I don't take those cases either, because I just don't know enough.
Right.
But just to see the little part that I did was just fascinating.
Yeah, I am. Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, and just to be honest with you too, I'm a big guy. So I'm not gonna run fast. So I'm looking at it this way. It's I don't feel like being anybody's snack. So I think I'd rather just stay in the car.
Right. So
That'd be you for long-term people.
Yeah, no, screw that. I'm not a big believer in the cryptozoology stuff. The Loch Ness and Jersey Devil and all that stuff. But we did go out one time. Some type of a security guard or whatever thought he caught something, so we go out there. Long story short, that growl that you're talking about, it's so hard to explain. But I'm going out there
what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
you know it when you hear it.
Yeah, and I'm going out there. I'm so not a believer. So I'm like, I'm not even. When you're like investigating a haunting or whatever, you're like all into it. You're like, okay, gotta do this or that, because I believe in that, right? This I don't believe in. So I'm walking around the woods and I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And they're like, oh look, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like, this is such a joke in my head. I'm just like, okay. We literally. When 2020 hindsight, you think about it. Okay, we smelled this weird smell. Then there was not a single animal anywhere where we were at. Not a bird, not a rabbit, not a chip,
That's what I noticed too.
No squirrel.
There was a whole bunch of cricket sounds for a little while, and then all of a sudden there was just nothing. And then all that stuff started happening. Yeah. And it is the most eeriest feeling that I have ever had. Because it was like you were in a vacuum. I mean, it was just, everything stopped.
Right. So it's 100%.
I just don't know I don't know how else to explain it than that.
Right. And that, I can never explain what I heard. It did not sound like any other type of animal I've ever seen on National Geographic, that I saw at the zoo, that I heard anywhere. I have no idea what it was.
I don't either. And like I said, I didn't see any. I didn't see anything. I just saw the stuff that was around it. And that was enough for me to tell me that I don't need to be in the woods at night.
Right. Oh no! As soon as I heard that, I was gone. I was like, "Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no! I don't know what that was, but I don't want to find out. I don't care if you guys want to say I can't do it because I don't know what that is."
Yeah, that old primitive brain kicks in and tells you it's time to go home.
Yeah. Well, you got to think too. In Jersey, we don't really have all those, that wildlife. That
you got the devil up there in Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey Devil.
Devil.
I don't believe in the devil myself either, but people are seeing something. I mean, the only thing I could come close to that I've ever seen, I think, what is it, a camelback that looks a lot like what people are seeing up there. Now, I think it's a camelback. I mean, it's if you look up Jersey Devil and then you look up bat on Google, you'll see what I'm talking about. I can't remember what it's called, but it looks a whole lot like a lot of the drawings that people are seeing. Now, I understand that they're not local to here. I think they're overseas, and how anything would get here or survive, I got no clue. But it sure the hell looks like it.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I'm like this. I say I think it's just this like ledge. I think this woman back in the day had this deformed child, and I just think it just the legend just grew and grew and grew and grew. And I think people that when they're in the Pine Barrens and they're in there and they're like, oh my God, the Jersey Devil's around here. They already have it in their head that this creature is somewhere. So if they see something, they're going to automatically go, oh my God, that's a Jersey Devil.
Well, yeah, of course. You're going to project. You can project whatever you want to project.
Yeah.
I mean, I think somebody has said that. I don't know. Was it the Mothman or was it the Jersey Devil? They were talking about it could have been a barn owl. It could have been both of them. I don't know.
Barn owl?
But I can't see how it would be a barn owl.
Barn owls are cute. The Jersey Devil's supposed to be like,
Yeah, but how old would this devil be if when was the story originated? I should know this growing up in Tabernacle.
It's old enough to be around.
That's what I mean. So is there many more? Just like Bigfoot. How old is he? He's got to keep coming.
Yeah, but there's no...
Yeah, but they're migratory. Yeah. And there's families that and stuff like that. So they say.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
There was one thing I was going to ask you.
So I will say this though about Bigfoot is that if you look at a map on where everybody's seen them, I mean you can see I mean it's just I don't know, it's something to look into. I mean I'm not really too sure exactly what it could be. But there also is a lot of woods and forests and stuff that we haven't looked at.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cave systems too that we haven't gone into. I mean, we haven't explored everything that we think we have.
Oh, no.
I mean, look at the ocean. Look at the oceans. We've explored maybe 10% of the oceans, mainly because we can't get down to the bottom of the water.
That's so freaky. I know. That's so crazy. I can't even imagine what is at the bottom of... I can't even imagine what else is out there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just think that if you can get down to the bottom of the oceans, I think you're going to find out there are more creatures down there than you would want to even deal with.
I don't think I'd go back in the ocean.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, just because we don't see them doesn't mean that they're not there. I mean,
exactly.
How many people have seen animal or just regular recognized animals that and found a new species?
Right.
I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah. I want to.
I'm not trying to fight that Bigfoot exists or doesn't exist. I'm just saying that we're not.
Oh yeah,
we don't know everything.
Yeah, for sure.
We might claim we do, but we don't.
Yeah, no. We're nothing.
I didn't say that at all either.
I'm kidding. I want to, before we go, I do want to backtrack just a little bit and ask you about like when you get the poltergeist cases and stuff. So when people originally come to you now, do they think it's a haunting?
Actually, most of them come to me thinking that it's a possession.
Okay. So how do you break that? How do you get to a point with somebody to where you now are saying, okay, they believe it's now coming from them, so let's do this hypnotherapy to see where it's coming from. If they're like,
I show them their tape. Nothing's more convincing than you saying what it is.
Yeah.
well, you show them their tape.
He tapes them.
I record what I do.
Okay.
So, and especially if they request it. And, so when I so after I go through it and I don't edit it, it's full, it's raw form. And I will assess it and give them my thoughts on what's going on. And then I will give them a copy and I will say, I want you to watch this at your leisure. Feel free to give me a call. But this is your session. This is what you asked me to find out. This is what these are the triggers that I was looking for. These are the answers you gave me of what the issues were. And
So they come to you and want to be hypnotized first.
No, I bring it up to them about being hypnotized.
Okay.
Now, any and all questions that I ask they're open-ended questions. I'm very much aware of false memory syndrome. So I make it a point that I don't guide them anywhere. I will ask. I will go back. I'll ask them about times and places. Because during the interview, I will ask them. Do you have any idea of where this happened? And then sometimes I'll move them faster. I'll move them forward or backwards if I'm not gathering the information of what's there. But I will only take them back to the day or the time, depending on what we're dealing with. I will ask them to tell me, what are you experiencing?
Okay.
And, what is happening. And I will monitor them because if there's an abnormal reaction, I will take them out. The high emotional state that they're in stress. I don't want them to be in stress.
Right.
Now, there's another way of handling it, too, is that if you want them to look at it as it's a movie theater. And so you could place them in in third person, so they're watching it happen and they can see it happen that way too under hypnosis. I can do it that way too. I like the idea of you've already gone through the trauma once. I really don't like folks to go through the trauma the second time. Only unless if it's a healing thing for them that they want to, then I will do it. But usually I don't.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and like I said, nothing's stronger than them saying what's going on, and they also see, what happened, what the session was, and and then they usually understand, what it was, and we just go from there.
Wow. It's like
I don't remove it at that time. I only after we discuss it again.
right.
If they want to remove it. And only removing it is basically just trying to get them past the trauma. It's not, nobody can actually go in physically and grab the memory. You can't really do that. I can make the suggestion that they can bypass it. You can always make the suggestion, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't happen that way because the emotion, if it's strong enough, it's not, the suggestion's not going to take anyway.
So you do a lot of inner child healing sometimes too, or past life.
Sometimes, yeah.
Past life
Sometimes.
regression. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Have you? That's a stupid. Well, no. Have you ever come across a case where you thought it was a poltergeist, but it actually did wind up being some type of
Mental illness?
or possession or something that was unexplainable?
I have yet to come across a possession.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that preternatural things don't happen, but it's very, very rare, and I have to really be convinced that that's what we're dealing with.
Right.
I have to see, the psychological workups, the physical workups, the medicinal workups. I want to know that this person is completely and totally 100%, before I even deal with it. And I do have a friend that's that is a priest that I work with sometimes, that I refer to, or ask. I talk with him about cases. Now he's referred cases out to me to have them looked at because people were claiming possession, and I have yet to turn him back a case of a possession.
Cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool to know.
A lot of the times it's a misunderstanding of what you're dealing with, and I'm a religious man myself, but usually religion gets thrown in there too, and if sometimes what we don't understand, we blame the devil, and in all honesty, it's if we would take responsibility for the things that we do, you will find out that a lot of it isn't what it seems.
Yeah, no, 1,000%.
Yes.
1,000%. Well, I look at it this way. Again, this is me being an animal sensitive, right? If animals had a religion, I say humans would be their devil, right? Because of not every human, but all the horrible things you see that are done to animals, you know what I mean? Like, I just think, so in that perspective, you know what I mean?
Well, I've got two animals right here. I've got my Great Dane and I got my Pit Bull. They were both rescues. I've had two Bassets that were rescues. I had a standard Dachshund that was a rescue. I've had numerous amounts of cats who are all rescues. So I'm a big believer in rescuing animals.
Yeah. Me too.
I have no patience for anybody that'll harm an animal.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Nope.
It's like negative.
Yeah.
Well, Peter, I mean, I could probably sit here and talk to you for another 3 hours. So,
well, y'all have my number, so anytime you.
oh my God, yeah. And we would love to have you on again at some point,
Awesome.
Yeah.
because
I would love to do that.
Part 2.
yeah, I mean, there's just so many. I mean, this was one of my fave interviews, by the way. So I thank you so much for taking the time
I've
to
enjoyed
come on.
myself too.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yeah, we definitely, there's a lot of questions and we
Can't get to
get
them
to
all.
them,
And
so
Maybe part 2.
there's part 2.
And before we go, just go ahead and plug your websites really quick, and so people that are watching can check you out.
Sure, it's lsspi.org and then redoakhypnosis.com.
Sweet.
And if you want to go to my website, if anybody needs to give me a call, my number's on there.
Great. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Great
much.
talking to you. Thanks for doing our show.
Thank you.
Thank you
I
very
appreciate
much.
it. Y'all have a great night.
You
All
too.
right, good night.
You too.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye. So that was great. That was awesome. I think that
was very interesting.
it was a
wasn't
very
it?
interesting thing, and I think it's cool though. You're hypnotist,
Yeah,
and you know what I mean.
Trying to talk
There was
to
a
him.
couple of
Interesting.
things.
I learned some things from him.
Josh, for sure, there is.
Yeah.
I said this before. I was underwater and some ghost thing came flying at me. So I know I agree with you that there should be more underwater. Somehow do underwater investigations because that's what I think that is. And then somebody else had Megan Blair Witch. That scares the shit out of me. Being lost in the woods.
She's gone. Yeah.
Forget it. It's like Wrong Turn. I can never watch Wrong Turn. And being lost in the woods. After everybody said that movie was fake, and they were like, "Oh, the movie's fake. It sucks." I'm like, "No, that scared the shit out of me, and it still scares the shit out of me because being lost in the woods like that, nope, can't do it. Can't do it."
All right.
All right, guys, my girls are tired.
Yeah,
She gotta get
in
her
bed in like 20
daughter
minutes.
got
and
school
then-
tomorrow.
I gotta get up at 5 in the morning.
And Taylor has
Thank you.
So-
couldn't do her homework.
Thank you. Oh, I know. Did you? Oh, you did it? Okay.
No hole in your pants.
Good night. So I gotta get up at 5 in the
guys.
morning. So
I am here too.
next week,
We're leaving town here.
hopefully we'll be back. One of us, 3 of us, 4 of us, something. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.
We love you guys.
Love you too.
And I do have readers, by the way.
You got readers, so why?
Readers.
Night, night.
Say hi, Taylor.
Where are you?
Hi, Taylor.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye, night night.